Hello again, everyone. Up to this point, I am sure that you all know action research much better. Now, I'm going to walk you step by step to develop your research questions. Step 1, to uncover the issue or to think of your classroom teaching issues or problems. We actually have done this already at the orientation, and this is also what I had asked you to do at the beginning of the lecture. Do you remember I have asked you to write down 2 to 3 classroom issues or problems that you feel that it is good to research on? For instance, this is from my own example. This semester I teach English for academic purposes for law students, and I am facing an issue that some of my students struggle to comprehend reading passages in the textbook. So I have jotted down the problem in my own classroom here. What about yours? What are your 2 to 3 problems that you have written it down? So after you have the problems or issues written down, now let's move on to step 2. Focus on the real problem. This is for you to select the problem you will actually use in your action research. Certainly, you can select one problem you would like to work on using this handout 1.1. You can print this out and answer these questions about the issue or problem that you have. Number 1, whether the issue is impacting learning. Number 2, whether it is worth changing. Number 3, whether it is directly relevant and meaningful to you. Number 4, whether you can make a direct impact on this problem through a change in your teaching. 5, whether it is within your ability and power to change this. 6, whether this is feasible to address within the time limits and workload of this project. And the last question is, if not, then how you can narrow it down to be just one aspect. So after you have answered all the questions and you found that you have answered yes to all, it means that you are quite ready to go forward to step 3. But if not, don't worry. Consider changing the focus of the issue before you go to step 3, and you'll be fine. Now let's look at my example. So let's say after I dig deep to the root of my problem, I found that the real problem in my EAP class is that there is a gap between my students' reading ability and the reading level of the text. So why don't you spend time doing step 2 and come up with a statement that is the real problem of your issue. We have now come to step 3. We are going to develop the research question. In this step, you are going to turn the problem you have into a general research question. Let's look at my example again. So from step 2, my real problem is that there is a gap between the student's reading ability and the reading level of the text. So I made the statement into a general research question. So now my research question is, what is an effective way to give the students some strategies they can use to understand text that is above their level? What about your issue or problems? Can you turn them into general research questions as well? Anne Burns suggested that you started with the words what, how, and why, so that you can write a question for the issue or problem you have identified. I have a few more examples for you. Here are some more examples. How can I engage students in group discussion activities? What can I do to help students understand the text? How can I motivate the students to do self-study activities? What can I do to effectively maximize students' use of English in class? You notice here that I have avoided making why questions because they tend to be much bigger in scope and will need data collection to identify the problem and a second round of data collection to measure the action. Well, it is now your turn to share your general research questions with other COP members and mentors. Please post your question on Blackboard so that at least 2 other COP members can give you some feedback. And please make sure you give feedback to at least 2 people as well. Do not ask your mentor at this point because it is important for you to get feedback from your peer first. In the end, you all will get feedback from your mentor. Keep in mind the criteria in handout 1.1 that we have just discussed. Based on the feedback, feel free to make changes to your general research questions that you feel are helpful. So, let me end my lecture by giving you assignment. For this mini lesson of Module 1, your assignment is to submit your 2 to 3 general research questions to the online discussion board by November 13th. And then you have until November 20th to give comments on the post of your friend. I will be looking forward to seeing your post of general research questions in 1 week. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have enjoyed the mini lecture number 1 and goodbye now.